Hey guys, Edgar here, Guns for Everyone. Quick little video that I wanted to make, kind of following up a conversation that I had with the student on Wednesday. On Wednesday, I had a class like I do many weekends. Many weekdays, many Wednesdays. This student came up to me after the class and he said, "Hey, I just have one thing to kind of ask, and it's about the sciencey shit." His question was, why are you characterizing the momentum conversation the way you're characterizing it instead of talking about it as the moment of inertia? And we had that conversation, and I wanted to explain it here. This happened once before when we talked about neuroscience, and I just want to make it clear, like these videos that I'm making, the sciencey series, you can go check them out on our YouTube channel. There's a playlist there for the limbic system or the neuroscience, and then also the physics of how to choose a gun. And the last video that I made is basically what he was talking about. I talk about it in class, but he was making the comment for the class version, and the class version is even shorter, more condensed version of the video that I made, which is boraxes, right? This is this idea of boraxes. And one of the conversation that we had is I just simply can't, right? I'm going to switch this over to other view. I'm going to try and do this as I watch the video because it's in my way and write at the same time. So this is fucking weird. I apologize. But I could get complex with you guys and talk about torque, right? So I can talk about torque. Torque equals force, perpendicular force, times radius. So we could do that. I could definitely make that video. I could also talk about net force, right? I already see some physicists or some mechanical engineers or some professors stumble upon this video, be like, that's the wrong T. I'm trying my best here. I'm not an artist. So we can look at the net force as angular acceleration times moment of inertia. That's an I. Or moment of inertia being the sum, right? The sum of mass and the square, of its distance from the axis of rotation. So I could definitely make that video. I can remake the video and talk about it in this terms. And I think a lot of humans that show up to the class or watch the videos are be like, I have no fucking clue what that means. Or I could just show you. I think I showed you just fine. In the last video, but just to kind of recap, if we come to my hall, I apologize for the different production value here, but like my door, right? If you look at how it's open a little bit, if I take my thumb and I come closer to the hinge, let's say this is your wrist, right? Because that's what rotates on the gun stuff. That's your wrist right there. And then we apply force. We go boom. Look at how much the door opens. Not a whole lot. But if we reset my door, again, I apologize. Fuck, we can even cheat a little bit and close it a little bit more. And we add the same force that we did the other side. Boom. It opens up significantly more. I'm barely applying any fucking force there, and it opens a lot more. So just to give you another visual of that, I can come close to the hinges and boom, hit that shit, and it barely fucking opens up. But again, I can cheat and close this even more and do about the same force, and it opens significantly more. I'm applying even a lot less force to that. And that's basically it. If you think about this as a barrel, all of the bullet stuff comes this way. All of that fiery shit, all of that shit comes out this way. But because of the third law of motion, it says that everything that comes in this direction also has to go back in that direction, and then that rotates a lot more. But if you do that shit closer to your wrist, right? Because that's we can argue about that shit really in the science world, but I would say that your wrist, that's what rotates. Your hand isn't rotating, it's your wrist where the axis of rotation is. So we'll just say this is your wrist. If you bring this shit closer to your wrist, it doesn't rotate as much. So it's the same shit, but it's closer to the axis of rotation. So because of math and science, feel it as much. So that's why choosing a gun isn't about feelings and isn't about what's comfortable for me. Because you can have a gun that's comfortable, like say this one right here, that's a pretty hefty fucking slide. This is a fake fucking gun, but that's a pretty hefty slide. That muzzle, that right there, I'm the one holding the camera and this is a fake fucking gun. So for all you Redditors that are on Reddit that don't know the difference between a fucking real gun and a fake gun and who's holding the camera and who's not. Ta-da, look, stand over here so you can see my motherfucking bald spot. See that shit? People on Reddit, a bunch of pussies. So when you hold a shit like this, and that muzzle is a lot higher and there's mass going, and because of this sciencey shit, boom, right here, this is gonna rotate a lot more because you've got a further distance and you square that bitch, and then you've got more angular acceleration because it's up higher and it has more mass. So this whole idea of like choose it because of feelings and comfort and emotions and shit like that, that's not the way it works. So again, I could make a super complex video that talks about that stuff, and sciencey people are going to appreciate it. We're going to have that conversation. But I think it's going to get lost on most human beings who just want to attend a class and learn about the basic fundamentals of choosing a gun and shooting a gun, the basic neuroscience. So these videos are really not intended to be a in-depth college course level how to choose a gun. It's simply, hey, Joe Schmo and Jane Schmo, you guys want a gun, you want to defend yourself. Choosing a gun is much more complex than just feelings and comfort and all of the buzzwords that unfortunately organizations that just want to increase memberships. There's a couple organizations that exist that all they want to do is increase the number of memberships because that means more money to them. So they will say easy lies that are not necessarily super untrue. I want my gun to be comfortable, but then they don't explain what the fuck that means, and they don't explain the rest of the fucking math because this is complicated. It's tough to tell a student like this actually matters. It's backwards right now, but like this shit actually has more to do with choosing a gun, not than comfort and feelings and all that shit. It is part of it. It is part of it, but that's kind of at the bottom of the barrel. So these videos are just to kind of scratch the surface. That's it. Just scratch the surface, get you to understand that it's much more complex than feelings and comfort. But it's not supposed to be a college level coursework. We could definitely do that. But I think the door shit is much more fun and much more simple and rudimentary. I think most of us will understand it. Most humans, especially that are just interested in saving their lives, you should understand the sciencey shit. But I don't think we need to get super complex. So that's why I wanted to make this video to kind of clarify for all the sciencey people, the physicists and the neuroscientists and the mechanical engineers, the professors that are going to stumble upon these videos or show up to the class. And I just want you to understand, like, this is not intended to go in depth with all of that shit. It's mostly just to talk about the basic and the fundamentals, just to give people a basic understanding of the sciencey stuff, the stuff that actually matters. You and I, if you're a physicist, if you're a mechanical engineer, if you're a neuroscientist, you and I understand that it's super duper important to apply this to self-defense and choosing a gun and shooting guns and all of that shit. But a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people haven't been educated about this stuff. So my videos are just in hopes that you're open to understanding that science is involved with your self-defense. I apologize for the low production value. Yeah, it was kind of an impromptu shit, and I just wanted to kind of give that understanding of what the videos are about, and that science can get even more complex. There's a reason why we don't do that, though. So I appreciate you guys, your time, your support. Share the video, tell people about the stuff, buy some merch. You can buy merch by going there, just reverse the image, go there. The website is that right there, or you can go on to our website, gunsforeveryone.com, and you can find it. I appreciate you guys. Thanks a lot.